Right. So here we have created. We have two models, right? We have created models for quizzes, and we have created models for the questions for those quizzes. Now we need a mechanism by which we can interact with both, right? Ideally, we'd like to be able to do is that we'd like to be able to retrieve all the questions, but more interesting is that we'd like to be able to retrieve all the questions for a given quiz. Okay, so let's first implement the easy ones, right? How about retrieving all the questions? So for that, we'll need a DAO, right, that allows me to interact and retrieve all these questions. So let's do that. So we'll do a new DAO for the questions. So this will be something like questions.dao.server, right? And so this will load the model. So this will be questions model, right? And this will be require the let's go down to the models. We'll go to the questions model, and there's the question model. There we go. And so here we would have functions such as find all questions, and we could use the questions model to just do a find, right? And once we have that, we can maybe export this as a map, and this will be something like find all questions, right? So that others can use this, right? Alongside with that, we'll probably need to wrap this inside of a service. So let's create a service for this as well. So this will be something like questions.service.server.js, which will be written in terms of that DAO which you've just created. So const questions DAO. Let's load that, go up and then down to the questions DAO. Oops. Questions DAO. There we go. And have probably the same exact API, find all questions. But now it's written in terms of the DAO. So questions DAO, find all questions, and then export this. Find all questions. Finally, when this is all and done, we can implement a controller, right, to finally export this to the rest of the world. Yeah, it's a good idea to always make it a const. It doesn't have to be though, but it's a good practice. So let's create here a question controller. Actually, no, we already have a question controller. So the question controller, here we had the implementation of using the service to retrieve the questions for a quiz. The questions for a quiz. We don't have that just yet, right? We don't have that quite yet. Oh, okay, wait a minute. We already had a question service, and I just implemented another one, right? Question service, yes. Yeah, so we're no longer going to use this. Right? We're not going to use that. Right? Instead, right, we're going to use our brand new question service. So question service, we're going to require service question service, right? Our new one, and we're not going to implement this one. We don't have it just yet. Right? We'll do that in a minute. First, let's do an easy one, right, where we can retrieve every single question. Not that you would ever do that. It makes no sense. Right? Why would you ever want to retrieve all the questions, regardless of on what quiz does it belong to, right? So this would be that we would, the implementation would be to use the service, so the question service dot find all, right? And that's going to return all the questions, even if it makes no sense, right? So here are all the questions across all quizzes. All questions, and then we're just going to return all the sent back all the questions. There we go. Okay, so let's try it. Right, I'm going to run it, see if it works. I just want to make sure that we are connected to the database and see if it works. So it's trying to hit that this URL. So let's see, it would be maybe a new tab. So it would be localhost 3000, API questions. Okay, so we have those 3 questions. So we know we're connected to the database, right? Not that I would ever want to retrieve all the questions across all the quizzes, makes no sense. But I know now that I am connected, it is retrieving data, and the whole pipeline is connected, right? From the URL, goes to the controller, goes to the service, goes to the DAO, goes to the model, goes to the goes all the way down to the collection, to a database, and retrieves the whole thing, and it comes back. So I know that I am connected. Now let's talk about the actual use cases that might be useful for us, right?